So when you meet God, God comes in many faces. One of them is, for a male, the old man, the wise old man. So I had this encounter in my dream with this wise old man, and I was angry at him because he was telling me I had to do something I didn't want to do. And when I read about it, this is common. Carl Jung talked about this, that meeting this person, and they've got, I'm reading the book of symbols. They've had different symbols for when you meet your transpersonal self or God or the divine or the collective unconscious in your dreams. I've also met.
There are times where I've had dreams where I've been pregnant and I give birth. That doesn't mean I'm literally going to have a baby. That literally means that something new is happening. Something new is changing in my life. Okay, like that. Like there are symbolism in dreams. You can look it up. Like that's a fact.
He's just an egomaniac, dude. Like he's just so full of himself.
Carl Jung.
Yeah.
Like
if I had a dream, it means something. Like, dude, a fucking dog has a dream. Like, what are you talking about, dude?
He's getting on his Joe Rogan tip. Like once you reach the collective consciousness of all of the individuals and everything you understand, that like it's just going to whatever you call it's like a god or the trans, racial, national.
My brain is still in recovery mode from taking in so many high level important ideas.
Like we've reached idiot synthesis now. Jimmy Dore, someone I have some intimate experience with through having had to have produced specifically and only within the confines of producing aggressive progressives at TYT while I was working there, not by my choice.
You witnessed the meltdown of a century.
Oh, I witnessed and had meltdowns of a century. So that was just a fun time there. But you know, Jimmy Dore is known for a number of different things, I guess.
His comedy, allegedly.
He's been a comedian for a while. He's relevant for relevant's a strong word.
He's going down the Russell Brand thing. He's gonna find Jesus, isn't he?
How do we get there? We have to go quickly into how we get there. So he started as a lefty comedian. He was the pot smoker, the chill like Bill Maher thing in the 2000s that all like the white bros like to do to try to get with like lefty girls essentially. And so or like liberal women, it's like, oh, I smoke pot and I date black girls, all right, so I'm not that bad. And so Jimmy Dore comes out of that ilk. He gets approached by Cenk and some other like political things. He starts pivoting into politics. The rest is history there. They split. Jimmy finds out that on his own, once he pivots into conspiracy theories, it kind of started with this like not just overemphasis on Bernie, but like without any other material analysis.
It literally started while he was still at TYT, like during 2016.
Yes.
He was telling all the conspiracy theories.
Yes, it then continued down to once he left the network, COVID conspiracy theories, just like completely not rooted in conspiracy theories are fine when they're rooted in analysis of things that are actually happening. But when it's just, things you are hearing from Aaron Mate and crypto bros, it's not the same. When it's like COVID misinformation, which is what he trafficked in because you're getting really good YouTube numbers off of that, it's not the same. And so Jimmy Dore is someone who's used to going from grift to grift to grift. Now it appears that he has found the greatest grift of all, the one you always choose when you are basically at your wit's end, your grift's end. It's God, especially one to do when you have burned all of the rest of your bridges. Certain comedians hate you here, some NDAs getting leaked there. All of these things have happened in our public record. Jimmy may have had a breaking point. I know he's talked about some health issues. I know I'm, just casually dropping a meet the doors here real quick. Like there's some stuff on Jimmy, right? But he has posted a video about how he stopped smoking cannabis and using cannabis.
Cool.
And
when was that? Like 20 years ago?
What it's done for him, which is I think it's now like 6 or 7 months. And then to be clear, this is not to like, joke on someone's like, journey with sobriety or anything like that. This is to show that this person is going through it maybe for personal reasons, but also in a way they're trying to shift into their brand, into their image. Not only because they've done it before, but let's just take him at his own words here.
Urge to quit smoking pot came from my unconscious. My unconscious was ready to break through. I've been doing a
Okay, there we go. I'm going to stop right there. His unconscious is what he's saying.
What?
Not his subconscious, his unconscious. I'm going to go back like I promised, and then I'm going to have us start this. And then he's going to talk about, why he went into quitting smoking cannabis.
So people have asked me, why did you quit smoking pot? And how is your life different? Well, I really don't know why I quit smoking pot. I have a firm belief that my urge to quit smoking pot came from my unconscious. My unconscious was ready to break through. I've been doing a lot of work getting in touch with my unconscious, my collective.
So again,
Oh my God, dude.
I watched this all for you. At no point does he correct himself and go to subconscious.
I didn't think he was.
Yeah, Venus blood flow. Subconscious is what it. Yes, that's exactly.
I don't know.
Wow.
As I was so unconscious that I can't do it.
Of unconscious, my transpersonal self. Other people would refer to that as God. That all is inward.
So is he go? No, this is like id, ego, and super ego. He's describing. Like, what?
Is he a 5%er?
We're getting there. We're getting there. Just wait.
Work. I never used to understand what people meant by that when they would say that. That's inward work. That God is inside, not God is not external. But I know what that means now.
Oh God, this stuff just
Because I've had, since I quit smoking pot, so I quit smoking pot, and it got me more in touch with my unconscious. And I do that. You could do that several ways. One of the ways is through your dreams. People dismiss their dreams, which is a mistake. It's just another form of consciousness. And you're tied to a collective unconscious, meaning that we have consciousness that's not just our own, that is tied to every other human in the world that lives right now and has ever lived. That sounds like a big statement, but it's true. And the reason how I know
I'm going to pause it right there again because once again, I've got a great screenshot opportunity for this video right here. And second of all, I just got to point out here that he's pointing. Some commenters said that like Jimmy is pointing out the reason why he stopped smoking pot, and it sounds like he started mushrooms.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And here, and I'm gonna tell Dan knows how much pot my mom smokes. It's a lot. My mom spends about like $500 a month on weed. And a lot of people are like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "It's." I wonder how much Jimmy was spending a month. Probably not enough.
Even by LA prices, probably not that. But no, just homeboy. I don't know what his home life situation was, but he carried that little vape toolie with him, and God bless, it's Los Angeles. It's his right. But again, this is not meant to be something of like I'm ragging on anyone's sobriety journey or anything like that here. But you see how quickly he's talking about this is my unconscious speaking to me, and my unconscious is actually the collective conscious of everything we have ever known and ever will be, because instead of conscious, this is actually cosmos with Neil deGrasse Tyson, and I'm actually floating in space by a green screen. And what was I talking about again? I'm being mean, but here we go.
know this true. Since I quit smoking pot, I've had encounters with images.
Okay, I
like his wife. Is his wife like microdosing him without him knowing or something?
She's literally like on the show. Steph, what are you doing? Like,
I'm gonna soundboard the shit out of this. Let me tell you. Like, I've got fun for the whole family here. This is so good. This is so good. Okay. I'll go back a little bit here. But yes, I do want to thank all the folks who rated in from Humanist Report. And all the folks who have resubscribed. I'll get that later on the show.
Other human in the world that lives right now and has ever lived. That sounds like a big statement, but it's true. And the reason how I know this true, since I quit smoking pot, I've had encounters with images in my dreams that I have no idea how I would know about them. So there's one. So when you meet God, God comes in many faces. One of them is, for a male, the old man, the wise old man. Now, I never. So I had this encounter in my dream with this wise old man, and I was angry at him because he was telling me I had to do something I didn't want to do. And when I read about it, this is common. Carl Jung talked about this, that meeting this person, and they've got, I'm reading the Book of Symbols. They've had different symbols for when you meet your transpersonal self or God or the divine or the collective unconscious in your dreams. I've
Pause
also
it.
met what they
As a psychology major, here's the thing. When you're withdrawing from drugs, there's gonna be some shit. Let me tell you guys something. Did you know there are times where I've had dreams where I've been pregnant and I give birth? That doesn't mean I'm literally going to have a baby. That literally means that something new is happening. Something new is changing in my life. Okay, there are symbolism in dreams. You can look it up. That's a fact. But transpersonal self and I'm seeing an old man and it's God. No, it's not.
He's just an egomaniac, dude. He's just so full of himself.
Carl Jung.
Yeah.
If I had a dream, it means something. Dude, a fucking dog has a dream. What are you talking about, dude?
Yeah, you see the dogs when they're running in their dreams. They're like, it's so cute though.
The dog gets up and acts normal, dude. Just shut up. You had a dream, you idiot.
I have a dream. A song to
I keep wanting to make the jokes, having dated those woo-woo people who are driven on their ego, but they're very spiritual. And so, which is usually the opposite. It's supposed to be, spirituality sort of is meant to be a vehicle to separate you from your ego, but oftentimes through organized religion and other cases, that isn't the case. And I know that in my dating history, but Jimmy Dore is about to inadvertently make every single joke I want to within the next couple of minutes. I'm not going to play everything, but
so excited.
Literally, another good screenshot here I could use for the clip, but what Jimmy's saying is once you reach he's getting on his Joe Rogan tip, once you reach the collective consciousness of all of the individuals and everything you understand, that it's just going to whatever you call it's a god or the trans racial national.
My brain is still in recovery mode from taking in so many high level important ideas.
We've reached idiot synthesis now.
Yeah.
the Book of Symbols. They've had different symbols for
the Book of Symbols. Bam! The way I'm gonna start hitting you with the Book of Symbols on Hotel Report.
Listen. This guy needs to read some Freud and get on cocaine.
No, that'll. I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. That's mean. Let's continue.
For when you meet your transpersonal self or God or the divine or the collective unconscious in your dreams. I've also met what they call Mithraic gods. So I had this dream where I met this person looked like an ape, but its head.
So it's an old man, but he looks like an ape. I'm assuming did he watch Tim Burton's interpretation of Planet of the Apes? What's going on here?
He's trying to enunciate it in his head, and he's trying not to pull one of the old
N-word.
This is gone. The thing is, if this was his comedy, it'd be so good.
Oh my God, yeah.
And this is Bill Burr. He knew what he was doing. This would be his best material ever.
If this was his comedy, he'd be great. But he's dead serious, and it's embarrassing.
Mm.
Oh my God. Okay.
Head was half lion, half human. And it was a very I didn't know what the dream meant at first, but then I did some interpretation with the Jungian analyst over it. And I was reading a book.
Wow, that's the first time. I'm sorry.
There are psychologists who do a lot of dream analysis, and Carl Jung was kind of notorious for that. But like, he's just describing the Jersey Devil.
He's just like, bam, you nailed it so well. It's just the type of people who go, oh, this dream must mean something really vast about the world. Like I know this, and it's just like we used to just have the corners of parks for these people, and now they have YouTube channels
Like,
and Shure microphones.
Yeah.
I promise there's one more minute because like it gets.
No, this is great. I'm loving it.
Thank God. We did some good production here. I'll go back a little bit.
The Jungian analyst over it, and I was reading a book, and it had a picture of what they call the Mithraic god. And I'm like, that's the image that was in my dream. That's that image. And it's in a book.
Take a look. It's in a book. The Reading Rainbow. No. I'm saying, like, how many people? I know some people do, so I'm not going to discount this. But like most folks, correct me, psychology, but like most folks don't remember their dreams very vividly. The longer and longer time passes after that dream, right?
You have 30 seconds to remember a dream. You might remember like little snippets of it, but you're gonna have a hard time trying to put the puzzle pieces together. And there are times where you can go back to sleep and continue that dream. I would know because the amount of sex dreams I've had involving my crushes,
God damn.
and I want to go back, and I'm like, can I just get back to that dream? No, okay. And then
Again,
I'm having like also too. It's so weird. I had a dream about like 9/11, which literally like I'm like in Times Square. I'm literally downtown Manhattan, and I witnessed the planes hitting the towers. And apparently, when there's like crashes in your dreams, like car crashes, plane crashes, whatever, you have very much high anxiety going on. Like your dreams are meant to just kind of like.
I've done this before.
I've done this before
with my fitness watch on, and it'll tell me like, oh, you're really stressed right now at this point at 2 a.m., which corresponds with that point in the dream. So like, I totally get that.
Well,
your dreams are supposed to kind of help dissect and exercise like what's going on with you, like your feelings and your anxieties, and sometimes you might even feel better.
Did you have that 9/11 dream on 9/10?
I'm not saying anything.
Well, I never read this book before. How would I know to have that image come in my brain? Well, that's because we're all connected to a collective unconscious that stretches back to the beginning of time.
It's called deja vu.
And so that was another face of God. So I've had these transcendent experiences where I've encountered the divine, and it's been very meaningful. It's given my life instruction on really pressing issues and problems. And as Carl Jung says, your biggest problems can't be solved. They can only be outgrown. And again, I don't know how to explain that to you until you experience it, but I've experienced that.
I'm gonna have to.
And so, I used to be an atheist. I brought up Catholic, and my atheism was a response to me rejecting religion and dogma, which I still do. But now I realize that there's way more going on than just this level of consciousness that we're aware of in our waking life. And I know that because I've experienced the divine.
Oh my goodness.
And I've experienced the transcendent, and I see it now everywhere. Once you start to become aware of it, I see it everywhere. I know that there's the consciousness that I'm aware of is a very small part. And, every encounter with God or the transpersonal self is a defeat for your ego, meaning your conscious ego, what you're aware of, who you think you are, the personality you've developed. It's a very tiny part of who you are. The greater part of you is in your unconscious, in our collective unconscious. And so
This is just like first
Okay,
bong
okay.
rip freshman year of college.
Yeah,
Literally.
okay. Let me just summarize. I got Carl Jung's profile up here. Among the central concepts of analytical psychology is innovation, the lifelong psychological process of differentiating all the self out of each individual's conscious and unconscious elements. Jung considered it to be the main task of human development. He created some of the best known psychological concepts, including the collective unconscious, the psychological complex, and extraversion and introversion. Like, he was basically a student of Freud, and Freud, he was Freud's heir apparent, but he was basically Freud without the sex and aggression and cocaine. Because for those who don't know, Sigmund Freud believed that your whole life, everything is based on sex and aggression. From the moment you're born, you are meant to be some sexual human being. And if you can't function well, then you're not going to be a normal human being. Which I'm more of an Eric Erickson gal, like the hierarchy, whatever. But like,
It's the dog humping the couch theory of psychology.
he's not interpreting Carl Jung's like ideology real well at all.
So you're saying he's not reading?
He's not reading at all.
Like my main fucking thesis about the man.
Yeah.
I've already said, and thankfully I know I have this ability because people will repeat my words verbatim on big shows. He just doesn't fucking read.
Yeah.
And enough people have said that to like where people get the point here.
My favorite thing, Cenk would say, "Oh my god, Jimmy does so much research. He reads a lot," and I'm like, "Does he though?" Like,
I was his producer. He doesn't fucking read. He does not fucking read.
Well,
Man, we're gonna say something because like this is a little bit more. There's one.
Oh, there's
last,
more. Okay, let's hear it.
There's
Let's
one
hear
last zinger I need him to get to, and I'm
Let's-
sorry it's a little bit later in this, but like it's so worth it.
it. Let's
Because
hear that.
Because I've been waiting to not pounce on this certain thing he's doing, and thankfully y'all haven't caught it yet. But he's gonna reference it himself, and it's gonna be like, this is Jimmy. This is Jim. It's like, what a man.
And so that's when, you've heard philosophers say there is no separation. Separation is an illusion. Also, death is an illusion. Well, death happens to this physical body.
Now he sounded like one of them wrestlers of WWF days, like, death is an illusion.
oh my god, bring back the Attitude Era, baby! Like, oh my god, it's just
Scary
just
Batman shit now.
This is just withdrawals from not smoking weed. That's the best. You have some weird ass dreams when you're withdrawing from drugs. Okay, like,
yes, even fair on that point, but like you could. I have gone extended periods without using cannabis and have not, other than like the first week of not big, like really interesting vivid dreams. I'm like, okay, yeah, this is fine. I don't even like really crave it, except for when I have to put up with BAM's like visual language that he'll do. This body language is what I'm trying to say, and having to interpret that, and so then calm me down for the anxiety. Yes, there's one bit here. I can't wait for him to drop it, because it's like I hope it's worth the payoff.
But that's not the opposite of life. Your life doesn't end when your physical body dies. Death is the opposite of birth. Life has no opposite. You are eternal, whether you like it or not. And there's no getting out. And your job, or as I see it, is to make the unconscious conscious, make that conscious. Eckhart Tolle would say your job is to become awakened. What awakened to that fact?
Oh, you mean like woke?
The grammatically correct. I keep telling people, I'm like, stop saying woke. Just do like Cat Holt said on Brooklyn. Just awake.
And also, it keeps going from like, there's no such thing as death. It's an illusion. It's just like,
I'm going to kill myself right now.
Connecting, and also saying, remember, I was listening to this physicist. I have to connect your unconscious with your conscious. It's like it's insulting to pop psychology to say it's pop psychology.
Literally.
That's what I would say. I would add that. I've seen him, that your job here is to become conscious. Well, that's another way of saying making the unconscious conscious and becoming aware or having a greater understanding of who you really are. And it's not your personality or your ego-centered idea of who you think you are.
Even though he just said that you're eternal.
Yes.
Again, this is the way he's seeing it and expressing it. So he feels that like he's internal because he's been having some shroom dreams, because he's been like thinking with a non-weed addled brain for the first time since 2004, as he's even self-admitting.
You need your ego to get through life, to drive the car, to defend yourself.
What? You need your ego to drive a car? What was this about, Freud?
But that's a very small part of who you are. And the greater part of who you are is connected to the collective unconscious. A collective consciousness is connected to, dare I say, a God, which Carl Jung refers to as your transpersonal self. I know in this era it sounds like trans, but it's not.
That's the one. I'm sorry it took 8 minutes for the payoff, but it's just like, to be clear here, I know it sounds kind of gay.
Oh my goodness, dude.
It's basically, I was looking at, because I remember hearing about the transpersonal self nonsense, but it's basically mixing science with religion. Like, it's bukkake. Like, it's bullshit.
I only heard one word. Yeah.
I know in this era it sounds like trans, but it's not.
I mean, but it is, though.
I mean, is this a pivot for him? Is he gonna stop like hating people and stuff since he's connected to the collective consciousness of that includes Hillary Clinton and Hunter Schafer?
In the words of Patrick from SpongeBob, no.
Oh my God.
No, yeah, like I think this is gonna be like a nice, fun flag point. Like, A, it's great content for us. B,
Yeah.
it is going to be a point where we can look and go, okay, if we start to see the same sort of change we saw when Jimmy pivoted for RFK Jr. or COVID denial, or Tulsi Gabbard, because he was a big Gabbard pusher.
But she's also pro-Israel, so that's weird.
Yeah, and this the big conspiracy is how much they're talking about Russiagate, like content that he was making and in the rut for a long time. Like, he's done the same sort of reset thing before, and maybe because I produce for the motherfucker, I tend to know when it happens. So basically what I'm saying is, Power Report exclusive, watch this space. This is probably the beginning of his God pivot, and I think his content is going to adjust, especially because, and I feel good about making that prediction,
I mean, look at Russell Brand.
Russell Brand is doing it. Kanye West has done it. If you are a man who like people dislike, the best way to grow your audience is just become a born again Christian.
Especially if you have a lot of sexual assault allegations against you. So,
or harassment, at least. Like, I'm not like accusing Jimmy Dore of anything, but like, harassment, and like, this, you see this with other men as well who have those allegations too. Just to be clear, but like, it's very. I would have maybe said Jimmy's not doing the God pivot if he didn't just drop that phrase in so many times, because he knows he has such a right wing audience, and it's like, oh well, I used to be an atheist, which is, I used to be on the left,
right?
And then it's like, how dumb do they think? This is how dumb. This is the answer. This is how dumb they think their audience is.
Yeah.
It would be better if he was like still smoking weed and saying this stuff.
It would make more sense.
Right.
Like Bam said earlier, if this was performance art,
you're brilliant. You're brilliant. But it's like, dude, like, are you smoking like spice now? Like, are you on the K2 now? Like, because it doesn't sound like, or are you like doing shrooms or DMT or something? Like, it doesn't sound like you're sober. So
wait, oh yeah, Shawn Michaels, my sexy boy found God. I remember that. I'm just a sexy boy. I love my chin music.
But yeah, it's like I feel like his audience, like, yeah, they're for sure gonna eat up the "I'm not an atheist anymore," but he's not talking about like
Catholicism and
right,
Christ.
right. So it's like, I mean, maybe he'll get there, but like,
Mm.
yeah, if you were just saying like the transpersonal human, whatever you're saying,
The Trans Europe Express.
yeah,
It's
right.
it's just like it's a spirituality thing, and it's again it's just a cockamamie grift.
It's
Right.
a YouTube AdSense thing. That's what it is.
Right. But if it's like, yeah, like just continue with the drugs. They would just say you do psychedelics now, but to say like I'm completely sober and
I'm in touch with my subconscious.
right, it's
Do
like
that.
like no, but he might make the Christ pivot, you know.
I think he is, because like this is the safe thing to do when you
Right.
hit a rut with your audience. You're also going through like, like I've seen a lot of comedians do this lately, like hit the sobriety kick, which again, like I am totally fine with. You hit this point in your life where you're like, if you're doing this road touring musician or comedian life, and any sort of life like that, like that's not the thing we're criticizing here. It's that Jimmy Dore, and a lot of people who enter into these recovery programs, it's very heavy on the religious aspects of it, even though it doesn't have to be.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. But like there's some sort of like believing outside of yourself thing that helps for people to develop a framework, and usually the easiest one for that, and I almost use the Judeo-Christian framework thing, which is your God, that programming, but like in a Christian country, is going to be something like a God. But like, like I'm not talking shit on any aspect of that. That part is fine. It's the part that this is a playbook that every like so many people do, where they pivot to this kind of stuff. And what do you do when you can no longer be edgy because of drugs or whatever? You start to be edgy because of your morality, and you try to browbeating other people by saying that, hey, your version of morality is wrong because I have the better version of morality. And even though I have just become old man yells at cloud, even though I have become the thing that I resented when I started as a comedian, I am now calling that edgy because I'm saying that, talking about God or talking about this higher power consciousness thing puts me in the minority. Because I have the ego. I need to be the victim. I'm Jimmy Dore. I'm the jag-off pothead comedian who found God.